I am Megan Cunningham, and I have three horrible things that Jen has helped me get over. One is migraines, I've had all my life. Second one was trigeminal neuralgia, which hit after shingles in 2007, and I kept having shingles, and it kept getting worse and worse. And then in 2024, I broke my left arm and elbow, well, wrist and elbow, and ended up with CRPS. And the pain from that, I didn't think I'd ever get rid of. Everything I read said, no, you won't ever get rid of this. Same with trigeminal neuralgia. Migraines I have under control. I've got medication. I'm good with that. But it was amazing. My biggest struggles were the pain, having to go out into public where, there's fluorescent lights, there's all of those things that just trigger the pain with my face and my head, and going outside in the wind. Just a slight breeze could set it off. Brushing my teeth could set it off. It was absolutely the most horrific thing I'd ever experienced on my face, and I had no idea how to get rid of it. And I was looking and I saw Scrambler and I thought, well, maybe. And then I just ignored it and went on. And then when I broke my arm, the pain, the fire was so strong. I was watching online, I was watching a doctor who's she's a orthopedic doctor who was talking about all of these different things that she sees on a regular basis. And she says she just cringes when anyone says that they have CRPS because she doesn't know how to help them. And so I was looking in the comments, and multiple people said, have you tried Scrambler Therapy? You need to try Scrambler Therapy. You need to try Scrambler Therapy. I'm like, well, I better look up Scrambler Therapy. And I looked it up, and there was this wonderful woman in Woodland Park. And I was like, okay, I got to call her and talk to her. So I immediately the next day, because that was like late at night, I contacted Jen, and she got back to me right away, and she was explaining what it was. And I'm like, well, okay. And she's like, you got to come off one drug because we can't do that with it. And I said, okay. So I took about 2.5 weeks to come off of that. And that really did accentuate the pain. So I didn't realize how much that was helping mute it. And so by the time I got up to Woodland Park in 2025, it was, I walked in and I told my husband, I said, I don't know if this is going to work. He says, anything is worth trying at this point, because he couldn't stand seeing me suffer. He's like, it hurts him to watch me suffer, just like a mom and a kid. You feel so bad when your kid hurts. And my husband's like, I don't want you to hurt. I don't want you to be going through this. I didn't have any apprehensions. I really jumped in thinking, what's the worst it can do? I won't have any relief, or it might knock it down a little bit. I did not expect it to knock it completely out. The treatment process for me was, I've had TENS units before placed on me when I was going through physical therapy, and those were always just weird because they go up and down, up and down. And this was, my dad was asking me about how it felt. And I said, it felt like putting an electric toothbrush on you, because it kind of vibrates. And then you get this little pop and then a little vibration, and it kind of ramps up and then it goes down, and it ramps up and it goes down. And my dad's like, okay. So he went down and got his electric toothbrush and put it on his arm. And I said, okay, now I'm going to flick. And that's really all it was. It was so shocking how fast it went. I'm like, 45 minutes later, I'm like, we're done already? And then it was like, okay, how's your pain? And I'm like, I don't really have much. And the first one on my head, there was still a little bit of pain, but it was, I'm like, if that's where I get, that's great. And then the second time it was gone completely. And I've just been blown away by, this has been 9 months, 6 to 9 months since I had it last summer. And I don't have any pain in my arm, none. And they said that would, it's considered a suicide disease because people can't handle the pain. Well, I had 2 of them because I had trigeminal neuralgia as well. And to have that go away, everybody needs to know about Scrambler Therapy. Going off your medication would be something that, you know, obviously check with your doctor and stuff on, but the benefit of not having to take them ever again has been so worth it. And having it come off for 2 weeks and knowing that, okay, I'm going to have this, I'm going to go try it. And if it didn't work, I could go right back on it. I didn't have to wait any time. So what's the harm in attempting to try it? And you might just be surprised, and you might just have the ability to not have the need for that medication. And having that it's given me my life back. I can't even begin to tell you how much I have had so many things that I have had to put aside because of these things. And I have so many things I can do now. I can work. I can do things at any time of the day. I don't have to go, oh, let's see, how am I going to feel? What's going on? It's just amazing. After the first one, when it took the pain, the absolute fire that was going on in my arm, and feeling in my fingers, which I hadn't had in over a year, and just sitting there going, wait, I can feel that. I have feeling. I can feel this again. And that was due to having been in a cast and a splint and all that weird stuff, and having damaged this nerve, and then having that pain go away even that first day was just, honey, I think this is working. And then the second day, and then when all of the pain in my face was gone completely, I'm like, okay, so maybe on the third one it'll come back a little, and it didn't. And the fourth one didn't. No need to even do anything up here. It was all my arm. And I didn't need the full 10 treatments. If I was going to give advice to somebody who is suffering from any of these migraines or trigeminal neuralgia or CRPS, it cannot hurt to try something like this. It is something that blew my mind. I didn't even know it was out there, and it's worth the time, the effort, and the price. If you haven't tried Scrambler Therapy, you haven't tried everything.